This is the story of a billionaire whose life was perfect until one rainy night. When his car broke down on a quiet street stand, the only person who stopped to help him was a homeless girl with dirt on her hands, no shoes on her feet, and a past she never spoke about. What happened next will leave you speechless. It was late evening in a quiet part of the city. The sky was gray, and the wind carried a sharp coldness that made people rush indoors. Most of the shops had closed, and the streets were almost empty, except for one corner where a girl sat on the ground beside a wall, hugging her knees. Name was Myra. Her clothes were old and thin, her hair tied back with a broken ribbon. She had been on the streets for months. No family, no shelter, just a small bag with everything she owned, and a scar on her right arm. She never talked about. Myra was not begging. She never did. She survived by helping at garages, doing small jobs, lifting tires, cleaning tools, anything that paid a few coins. She knew how to fix things because her father once taught her before he disappeared. That night, she had not eaten. Her stomach hurt, but she was used to the pain. She sat quietly, watching the cars go by, the lights flashing across her tired face. Then came the sound of a car slowing down. Not the normal sound of parking, but the sudden jolt of a problem. A sleek black car rolled to a stop near where she was sitting. Smoke rose from the hood. Myra turned her head and saw the door open. A young man stepped out, tall, clean-shaven, wearing a sharp coat and expensive shoes. He looked frustrated. He opened the hood and stared at the engine. Clearly unsure what had gone wrong, that man was Adrian. Only 28 years old, but already one of the richest tech entrepreneurs in the country. His face was always on business magazines. People said he was a genius. But in that moment, Adrian was just a man standing helpless in the cold, with a broken-down car and no signal on his phone. He tried calling his driver. No answer. He cursed under his breath. He looked around. Except the girl. Sitting by the wall, their eyes met. For a second, neither said anything. Myra looked away quickly, not wanting to seem rude. Adrian walked toward her. His tone was soft but unsure. "Do you know where the nearest mechanic is?" Myra stood up slowly. "There's none open at this time," she said. "But maybe I can help." Adrian looked at her, surprised. Yoshi nodded once. "I worked at a garage before. I can try." He hesitated. This girl looked like she hadn't eaten in days, but something in her eyes was calm, strong. He stepped aside. "Okay, Myra," walked to the car. She wiped her hands on her shirt and looked under the hood. Her fingers moved fast, confident. She asked him to start the car. The engine didn't turn. She adjusted a few wires, checked the battery line, then tried again. This time, the engine came alive. Adrian stared. "How did you? It was just loose," Myra said. "You were lucky it didn't shut down completely." He smiled for the first time. "Thank you, really. What's your name?" she said simply. Stepping back, he opened his wallet. "Let me at least pay you for this." That answer stopped him. He was used to people wanting things from him. Money, favors, deals. But this girl just turned away and sat down again by the wall like nothing happened. Adrian got back in the car but couldn't drive off. Something inside him felt unsettled. Who was this girl? Why was she on the street with hands that fixed cars better than most mechanics he paid? Why did she walk away from money like it meant nothing? He drove off, but all the way home, her face stayed in his mind. He told himself to forget. But he couldn't, not yet. Not after what he saw in her eyes. Because sometimes fate begins with a broken car and a girl who refuses to break. The next morning, Adrian sat in his office, but his mind was far from work. His assistant brought files, emails came in, calls waited, but he didn't hear any of it. Kept remembering Myra's face. The way she spoke, calm, unshaken. Her hands moving through his engine like she'd done it 100 times before. And most of all, the way she walked away from money like it meant nothing. It bothered him, not because he was angry, but because it wasn't normal. Adrian was used to people chasing wealth. He was used to being admired, envied, or used. But Myra was different. A girl in rags, hungry, tired, and still proud. She helped a stranger and asked for nothing. That afternoon, he told his driver to take him back to the same street. He didn't even know what he'd say to her, just needed to see her again, maybe offer her help, a job, something. But when he reached, the spot was empty. The wall was still there. The street looked the same. Mira was gone. He waited in the car for over an hour, watching, hoping. She didn't return. He asked around, but most people shook their heads. A fruit seller finally said, that girl, she doesn't stay in one place. Sometimes she sleeps near the bus terminal. She helps out at a garage 2 streets from Her Adrian's. Driver looked at him through the mirror. Should we go there? Sir Adrian nodded. The garage was small, crowded, full of noise and grease. The owner, a round man with stained hands, recognized her name immediately. Mira? She comes sometimes. Knows cars better than some of my boys, but I don't pay her. Just helps when she's hungry. She fixes things, cleans up, disappears again. Adrian left his number with the man. If you see her, tell her Adrian is looking for her. Just that 2 more days passed, and then, on the 3rd night, just as the city lights began to glow, Mira returned to the same corner. Her eyes looked tired. She had spent the night in the back of a broken bus and the day cleaning tools at the garage. She had earned enough for one small meal. That night, she planned to rest against the same wall where she had met the man with the car. She didn't know his name. She didn't expect to ever see him again, but fate had other plans. A black car pulled up beside her again. Psst. Didn't look up immediately. She thought it was someone else. Then she heard a door open. Heard a voice. Myra. She turned. It was him. Adrian. For a moment, both of them just stood there. He walked closer. We've been looking for you, he said. Why? She asked, cautious. I wanted to say thank you properly. You helped me when you had nothing. I want to help you now. I didn't do it for help, she replied. I know. Adrian said that's why it means something. He offered to buy her dinner. At first, she said no, but he didn't push. He just stood there in his coat and clean shoes under the same streetlight where they first met. In the end, she nodded. Just one meal, she said. No promises. They went to a quiet place near, but not too fancy, not too loud. Myra didn't talk much. She ate slowly, unsure how to act. Adrian asked about her life. She told him little, just that she had worked in a garage once. Her father had loved cars. He taught her what he knew. Then he disappeared one night and never came back. Her mother died not long after. Mira had been alone since then. Adrian listened. He didn't interrupt. He didn't ask why she didn't go to a shelter or why she never begged for food. He already knew Mira didn't believe in pity. She believed in earning every breath she took. That night, he dropped her back near the same wall. She said thank you for the meal. He said thank you again for the car, and then silence. Neither of them spoke about what this was, about how strange it felt to be sitting across from someone who lived in a different world, yet felt somehow closer than anyone else's. His car drove away. Adrian looked back through the window. Mira was still standing there, watching the street, hands in her pockets, alone. But she wasn't just a girl anymore. She was the beginning of something, and deep inside Adrian's heart, a question had started to grow. Was this fate? Or just a coincidence he could never forget? Days turned into weeks, but the memory of Mira didn't fade. For Adrian, it became impossible to go back to his normal life. He attended meetings, signed deals, smiled at cameras, but something inside him felt empty. He kept returning to that street corner. Some days she was there, some days not. But every time they crossed paths, they talked a little longer, shared a little more. Adrian began to learn her rhythm. Where she went, though, she survived. How she avoided the world but never ran from, even noticed the way she never asked for anything. Not food, not money, not sympathy. It made him want to give her everything. One night, it was raining again. Not too heavy, just like the night they met. Mira stood under a small shade, trying to stay dry. Adrian pulled up in his car, but this time he didn't stay inside. He stepped out, walked up to her, and held out a jacket shawl. Catch a cold, he said. She took it slowly, like she wasn't sure she deserved it. Thanks. They sat in silence for a while, under the rain. The city buzzed around them, but their world felt quiet. Safe then. Adrian spoke. Work for me, he said. I'm opening a new car diagnostic center, high-tech. Clean. You'd be perfect. Mira turned to him. Her face didn't change, but her eyes did. She didn't say no, but she didn't say yes either. I don't want a favor, she said. I want to be needed for what I know. Not because you feel sorry, Adrian nodded. Then prove it. Show up tomorrow. There'll be a test. Pass. The job is yours. Fair and clean-shay looked at him, this time with something new in her eyes. Hope the next morning she showed up, grease on her sleeves, hair tied back, ready. Ow. She didn't just pass the test, she outsmarted his top engineers. She found a fault. In a system they had missed by the end of the day, Adrian didn't just offer her the job, offered her respect from. That moment on everything changed. Mira moved into a small apartment provided by the company. She worked harder than anyone else. She came in early, stayed late, never complained. The staff began to admire her. No one cared where she came from, what she could do but outside of work. Adrian found himself thinking about her more than he should. The way she spoke with honesty. The way she looked out the window when she thought no one was watching. There was something in her that pulled him closer without even trying. One evening, they stayed back at the office late. It's just the two of them. The lights were dim, and Myra was fixing a circuit. Adrian leaned against the wall, watching her yaw. Not like anyone I've ever met, he said. She didn't stop working, you mean, because I was homeless? No, he said. Because you're fearless and honest. And stronger than anyone I know this time. She looked up. Their eyes met. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was just a look-bet one that said everything neither had been brave enough to say out loud from that night on. Something invisible shifted between them. A closeness. A trust. A spark, but not everyone was happy. Whispers began in the office. People talked. Why was the billionaire spending time with the girl from the streets? Some accused her of pretending. Others said she was using him. Adrian ignored it, but Mira didn't. One evening, she came to him. Angry, I didn't ask for this. She said, I didn't come here to be your project. Or your story to tell. Adrian stepped forward. You're not my project, Mira. You're the only real thing I've found in a long time. She looked at him, her voice lowered. Then tell me, is this love? Or is it guilt? Silence fell in that silence. Adrian answered not with words but by gently. Taking her hand, I don't feel guilty, he whispered. I feel lucky, because a girl with nothing gave me something I never knew I was missing in that moment. Under the dim lights of a workshop filled with tools and tangled wires, two broken paths became one. Mira was no longer the girl sitting by the roadside. She was the woman who helped fix a billionaire's car, and unknowingly helped fix his heart. And Adrian, he wasn't just the man with money anymore. He was the man who fell in love with a girl who had nothing but gave him everything. Love doesn't come in grand gestures sometimes. It starts with a broken car and ends with two souls finally finding home.